Isn't there any positive approach to this business of sex education?
She knows the facts, but that alone doesn't give her a healthy attitude to boys. I'll have to talk more to her about how to have fun with them without being silly.
Jack, please don't do that.
Don't act like an iceberg all your life. Look, we love each other, don't we?
Yes, but after all...
After all what?
Take me home.
Now Mary began to realize what her mother had meant all these years. Through her own experience, Mary was developing a sound ideal of what love should mean in her life. It was not what Jack offered. Mary had broken off with Jack, and by chance she turned up at the same party as Bob. When they met that first night, both had a pretty good idea of the kind of people they really liked. It didn't seem much different from other dates at first, but after a few weeks, both knew that it was different. Petting was not just a form of entertainment or an experiment. There was real affection and mutual respect. They were so sure that their love was deep and spiritual that at times a marriage ceremony seemed to be just a formality. Love seemed to be all that really mattered. But each of them knew deep down that they wanted their marriage vows to have real meaning.
All right, good evening, everybody. My name is Nate, and I do the teaching here on Wednesday nights at Kaleo. I don't think I really need to go too far to get your attention or to get you drawn in tonight. We are talking about sex. And so right there, unless you're like on the verge of death, you're like almost checked out of this life, you're probably got your ears perked at this point. And I don't know what education, sex education you've had in the past. I don't know where you come from. I'm actually not going to give you, we're not going to, show Grey's Anatomy on here, and I don't mean the TV show. That's another kind of sex education. I mean the actual Grey's Anatomy dictionary. We're not going to do any of that kind of sex education, but I know that growing up, there's a good chance you guys have not gotten a good biblical explanation, even a good biblical angle on sex. I know that some of the Christian groups that I've heard teach on sex, they take facts about condoms and HIV and they distort them and blow them out of proportion so that they can try to manipulate you into being afraid of engaging in sex. And in case you're here tonight and maybe you're not a church goer, you're going to church tonight, but that's not where you'd put yourself. Just to put it right out there, we're all about sex in marriage and against premarital sex. In fact, let me be more specific. In the age and the world that we live in, we're all about heterosexual sex with just your spouse only inside the marriage. And that right there, I think, shows where we are at culturally. And the argument out there is like, does Grand Theft Auto cause you to want to run around and kill people? Does this movie make you want to do that? Does this make you want to do that in culture? And it's kind of a whole chicken or the egg debate. And I think that's where it's going to stay is like, do people create culture or does culture lead people? And I think it's a little bit of both. I think that people get an idea how sex should be. And so culture runs with it, Hollywood runs with it, and then that just reaffirms the thoughts that we have and builds upon them. It takes a thought and almost makes it a foundation. And so if we look at our culture is just sex to the max. I don't think we could take any more. If our porn industry, in case you guys were wondering, there's a book that was called Porn Nation. It was written by a lady who used to write for the Times, so she's not like focus on the family writer. She doesn't have that bias. I'm sure she has a bias. I don't know what it is. But she wrote a book, Porn Nation. And in that, she talked about the increase of pornography usage in our culture and how that's affected our culture. The porn industry, just so you know, is the largest entertainment industry in America. It grosses more money per year than the NFL, then Major League Baseball, then the NBA, and the National Hockey League combined. You thought I was just going to say than either one of those individually, but the porn industry, the entertainment industry, makes more money than all of our professional sports combined. Just think about the NFL and the marketing they do and how much money they bring in. And if they throw in all the other professional sports with them, it doesn't even compete to what the porn industry makes. Now, I know, we're leaving out Major League Soccer, and oh boy, if they had that one in there, there'd be no competition. Porn would lose, right? Yeah, no. And I like soccer. Just today, I was on the Glamour webpage, because if you don't think that culture in the media influences you or teaches you, then why do they have do's or don'ts? Why is all of their articles about sex, why is the majority of them saying how to do this, how to do that to your man, how to pick up a chick? If it's not influencing you, why is it all how-tos? Why is it picking up chicks for dummies? I mean, that to me says culture's trying to teach you, media's trying to teach you. And I'm not trying to do a war on media. I just want you to be aware that you think that you're this individual free thinker who is just so independent. And I took some classes. I did some philosophy in college, and so I can debate. I'm totally free of everyone else. I'm a free thinker. Well, the whole world around you is telling you what to think and how to do it, how to apply that thinking. So you're not as free as you think. Glamour. One of the articles on their webpage today was, everything you need to know about a relationship can be learned from 7 TV shows. So what? And one of them was Third Rock, right? Is that what that is, with Tina Fey? I'm like, dude, that is so satire. I don't know how you learn anything but to make fun of. And that, as far as I know, in the bedroom's probably not a good method. Don't do that. Right under that was the dating do's and don'ts for women. The dating do's and don'ts for women, and we have them for men, and we will compare them because it's funny. And it is good. It just is good commentary on our culture. The very first advice, the number one advice, guys, pick this up. I know we talked about you 2 weeks ago, but just pick this up. This is what women are telling women how to go into a dating situation. The number one rule was lower your expectations as far as possible. Yeah, that's a burn, guys. I think we need to pick it up a little bit there, okay? Right after that, of course, is, don't do the whole dinner and a movie. Expect PBR and Guitar Hero. Great date right there. I mean, we've already lowered our expectations, so we might as well just have a blue ribbon and call it good. Along with that was, don't have your boobs hanging out of your dress. Okay. I thought that was just like modesty. I thought that was normal. Get this. Don't wear anything sexy. I'm not kidding. This was the next rule. Don't wear anything sexy. Why? What was the reason they gave? Because if you wear something sexy, the guy's going to grind on you all night and expect sex out of you. What I thought was ironic out of that is directly underneath this, so this is like a little slideshow where they're going through the different things. Right below that are links to related articles, and right below don't wear anything sexy was the article, How to Dress Smoking Sexy Like Scarlett Johansson. Our culture is sending mixed signals. Don't listen to them. You will get confused. If you're a little confused, that's why. Don't dress sexy, but look like Scarlett Johansson and be smoking hot. And those were the words they used. This is just like, wow. I mean, this is going to blow you away, women. You're going to be like, oh, this is my problem. This is why dating doesn't work for me. Don't get wasted. Oh, that's why I never get a phone call the next day, because I throw up on his shoes. I mean, is this what the culture has to offer you? Next thing was, if he says he's 5'10", don't snicker. Don't laugh at his little ego, basically. And another thing was, don't get personal. Which is funny that it would say don't get personal, because other ones were saying on their do's and don'ts, do this, don't do that, but it still might end up in having sex. So have sex, but don't get personal about it. Isn't that interesting? That's very interesting. Basically, make sex as completely just instinctual and non-emotional as you possibly can. So Maxim, we know we're going to get improvements out of Maxim. We just know that. And this was in jest, but it was, don't pick her up on your unicycle. Do lead her by the hand. Okay, that's common sense, right? Chivalry. And if you're wondering why Glamour said, don't have your chest hanging out of your dress, well, in Maxim it said, when you pick her up, don't poke her in the chest. Okay, now we get it. Now we see why the women have to say, look, he's already kind of a Neanderthal, don't encourage it. Bring her flowers. Don't bring her tickets to the Gallagher show. If you don't know who he is, his show, his whole comedy act is, here's a watermelon, here's a sledgehammer, bam, ha ha. Well, guys, that doesn't impress women. I didn't know that, had no clue. Show her your family portrait. Don't show her the skeletons in your closet. Pull the chair out for her. Don't give her the chair from the top rope, WCW style, bam, or WWE style. Wow. No wonder why she calls you a jerk in the end. I mean, the thing is if we're going to go to our culture, whether it's positive or negative, I don't really know that the culture's providing a lot of really good advice. I mean, don't slam her over the head with the chair like you're a pro wrestler. Thank you. I mean, that's not wrong, okay? In case you're thinking I'm saying that's wrong, guys, don't do that. But that's not where we need to go. On Maxim, ladies, in case you're wondering what your guys are reading while you're trying to figure out how to lower your dress size and make your abs super wonderful, what are guys reading? I figured out you can write, guys, just so you know, I figured out you can right-click and say, don't accept pictures from this website. That helped. But the articles were how to pick up a girl, how to score on St. Patrick's Day. That was a big one. How to get her in bed. Another one, we'll actually go into detail on it, was how to break up with your girlfriend in such a way that she's going to think you're awesome, and 6 months later, you're going to get a booty call. Ladies, this is what guys are reading, just in case you're wondering. This is what our culture is telling our guys, and guys are like, yeah, but it's just funny. But it's selling. You're buying it. So, I mean, it's obviously you're not disagreeing with it too much. I mean, if I brought in propaganda from the Nazis, you probably wouldn't get a subscription because you're against that. But yet somehow you'll get a subscription to how to score on St. Patrick's Day, how to get a booty call from your ex-girlfriend. Culture's affecting you sexually more than you think. And see, the argument, because we think we're so intelligent and so independent, and we're like, I'm not going to let religion oppress my sexuality because I know about the Enlightenment. I think, therefore I am. A lot of our view on sex, just a side note, not in here, is a lot of pride. I'm smart enough. I can handle it. And what we like to come up with is we're free consenting adults. What's the problem? If I'm a free consenting adult and he or she's a free consenting adult and it's legal, then it's okay. It's completely permissible. And we think that the Bible's some ancient literature, and so we shouldn't follow these ancient rules on sexuality. But what's funny is the Church of Corinth found themselves in the very same spot. 1 Corinthians chapter 6, if you don't know anything about 1 Corinthians, there's a Pastor Paul, an amazing testimony in his life. He started this church, and then he went on to start other churches, and they sent him a letter. The 1 Corinthians is actually not the 1 Corinthians, it's actually the 2 Corinthians in a sense, because they've already written him a letter asking questions. They have problems, right? Sons are sleeping with their mother. People are having adulteries on each other all the time. They're committing adultery. And so they're asking questions, and they're wanting Paul to sort it out, so he's responding to them. And so we find ourselves in chapter 6, verse 12, and he quotes them, all things are lawful for me. And later you see that he says, you guys wrote this, and so I'm responding, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful, but I will not be enslaved by anything. See, what they were saying is they're saying, look, we're doing these things, and they have a problem with it, but hey, it's totally legal.